Welcome to The Fault Vault. We have two brothers breaking down their business mistakes. Hello everybody, welcome back to The Fault Vault for what is our grand finale for the first season. I am Jared with Worldwide English Services, and I'm here with my brother, who you all know and now all love, almost as much as I do. Not quite, but almost. Jay, how are you?
Hello, Jared. I'm doing well. I'm Jay, Breathless Press Cabinets. Very excited about the season finale.
That's what I'm going to do.
Just get on here and be like, listen, everyone, I'm not bored with Jared's drama. We're going to have a spin-off show where Jared just talks about his problems. And so I just looked at the clock and I got that little bit of nervousness right here. I've traveled.
Hello everybody, welcome back to The Fault Vault for what is our grand finale for the first season. I am Jared with Worldwide English Services, and I'm here with my brother, who you all know and now all love, almost as much as I do. Not quite, but almost. Jay, how are you?
Hello, Jared. I'm doing well. I'm Jay, Breathless Press Cabinets. Very excited about the season finale. Of course, right before we decided that we were going to stop the podcast for a little while, possibly, we're not sure, I bought a webcam. So now I look different for the last one. So now I'm not sure where to look because it's closer to my face. But I'm going to continue looking at you. This is who I'm talking to, but a little bit of a different thing. So perfect timing on that. So good job by me. I'm doing well. It's been a little while since we've recorded, obviously. And it's been overall a good month or two. I was listening back to some of the episodes and it was on like the beginning. We released them beginning of March, in the middle of March. So I guess it was like since February. So we had a good month and a half, I guess. But no, doing well.
Cool. Yeah, so today we just wanted to do a little bit of a retrospective, a little bit of a meta episode to think back to why we started this podcast, lessons we've learned, and talk a little bit about what we're thinking for moving forward for it. So let me talk first of all about why we got started. So last year, I was thinking about how I need to speak more, to learn how to speak better, clearer, more crisply. And I'm always interested in how to improve what I'm doing. And so I had the idea of doing something like a podcast. People have said to me many times that I should work on my personal brand or start some type of podcast because life is interesting. You and I, Jay, both lead very unusual, interesting lives, I think. And there are things we have to talk about. And so I also enjoy spending time with you, Jay, my brother. And so I had the idea of, hey, why don't we start a podcast? So Jay and I talked about that for a while. We learned how to do that. We'd never done anything like that before. It took us a while to hash through all the name, the format, the when, just starting it. I think we recorded our first episode and the second one we recorded like weeks later, something like that, to get into the habit of doing it. So it took us a while to get our feet under us, but it's been a really interesting journey, and I'm very happy we did it. So I want to talk a little bit about what I learned over the course of the podcast. But Jay, first I want to toss it over to you because you have a fault for the vault on the subject of the podcast. So what is on your mind?
Yeah, and also, but with what you were saying, we actually did, I think, 2 episodes that were never released either because they just, whatever, I forget exactly why. Maybe they didn't fit exactly or they weren't great.
My video quality.
Yeah. Certain things. I had something weird as well. Yes. So yeah, it's definitely been a fun process. No, I just wrote down a few things that were. This is the idea of the podcast, is that we, one of the main goals, and you'll probably talk about this, I'll steal your thunder, is that we change the perspective that we have around faults and mistakes. And so I think that we did a couple of things well. Actually, I will talk about those later. I think the things we could have done better, or just some general notes. First of all, I like Jared's voice more than I like mine. I figured that out, Jared. Listening to the last couple episodes. I actually listened to 2 this morning, and That was clear to me. So I think we obviously need to be more tighter. A lot of them were too long. As I'm listening to one of them, I was just like, come on, get to the point. And it's me and you. So I'm apologize to the audience for our novice abilities. Uh, I would like to provide a little more value in the future. Focus on that. I know that this is more about just talking about where we're at and the experiences that are happening and the mistakes that we're making currently, and that we're not experts. But I'd like to do a little more focusing on providing value. I should have taken more action on the things. Just looking back at a number of them, and I listened to one a little while ago that was like from 3 months ago, 2 months ago. I was like, I never fixed that problem, and so I need to go back, and I'm actually going to use these as a resource for that, to go back and remind myself of the things that we were thinking about, the things that I was thinking about. It's a nice little time capsule and mistake capsule, a nice little vault, if you will, that I can go back into, like, oh yes, I forgot that I sucked in that way, even then. And then that would be fun to incorporate. I think we should have incorporated other aspects of it, although that's not a full one, but other elements, things to make it a little bit more dynamic and interesting. I should have had a plan to publicize it. I've never publicized this podcast, and that's a mistake that I've made. I was so worried at the beginning. I realized this kind of after the fact. I was really worried that the podcast space is so full. There's so many people talking that value their own voices. I think if we've done something well, we've not come across as experts. I don't think we do that as much. It's clear that we're not, at least not the vast majority of the time. No, we're not. And that was a worry for me, that we would be pretentious, I guess, and be like, hey, everybody listen to us. We know what we're doing. And that's never been really what the vibe has. And I think we've done a good job of just talking about it and focus on how we can improve, and the goal, which is to change our perspective around mistakes. Let's see. I would like to have spoken more clearly. I realized listening back, and hopefully I'm not doing it right now, hopefully I'm more relaxed, that I'm so desperate to provide value and not bore people that are listening, that I tend to get ahead of myself and try to speak quickly, because I'm like, let me just get through this, because I feel like I'm already wasting people's time. And that anxiousness, and that it does the exact opposite, because it makes me hard to listen to. It makes people not value what I'm saying, because I'm making cheaper, discounting what I'm saying by trying to rush through it. And also, the weird thing is, I don't actually say things quicker because of the stuttering, because of the repeating, because of the incomplete thoughts, because of the incoherency. I actually am not communicating any more effectively, or any, even not even effectively, not even communicating more volume. And so I need to relax, maybe a little more preparation, more space, silence, less fluff, those sort of things. I have some positive things as well, but I've been talking for a little while. Why don't you say some of your thoughts there, Jared?
Over to me. Yeah, I'm going to basically recap something I said earlier and then something you just said, because those are my two main goals for the podcast. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. We went in our team, we've had a lot of conversations with the team that produced the podcast, and an emphasis that I've always had from the beginning is that we're not here to build an audience, at least yet. We're not here to get a ton of views. I've had exactly two goals from the very beginning. The first goal was to learn how to speak, or become more comfortable speaking. I know, Jay, what you were just saying is something that I do as well. When you get ahead of yourself, your brain starts churning too quickly, and then your mouth and tongue starts churning too quickly. And I know that that is an issue in terms of communication. And so the first thing that I really wanted to do with this podcast was get comfortable just talking into a camera, into a microphone, and talking about subjects that are sort of on the forefront or the cutting edge of what is on my mind. So not necessarily something that I have a ton of information about and I can talk for a long time as an expert or as somebody who's really thought through it, but to be able to speak clearly about something that I don't have fully formed yet. So a mistake, as we've done every week, a mistake that I just found out that I made, and you and I talk through to figure out what's going on with that, and then think
Mm.
about what we could do differently in the future. So something that's it's not really a fully formed thought yet, but still I want to be able to communicate it clearly, communicate what's going on in my head. And I've really liked actually what I think I will do is listen to one of the first episodes and listen to one of the later episodes to see, because I feel like I'm much better at that, but it would be interesting to hear the difference if there was one. Hopefully there was. So that was my first objective with this podcast. And the second was, like you just said, Jay, changing my attitude towards mistakes. Prior to this, I was very aware that I got really down on myself when I made a mistake. Like, you idiot, how could you do that? That's such a dumb thing. Now look where we are. You lost money. You're way behind where you should be. How could you even think that that was a good idea? And as we've gone through this podcast and I think really rewired some brain circuits, it absolutely has changed how I view mistakes. And that's been the biggest game changer for me. I'm not that hard on myself anymore. As we were going along in the podcast, and I talked about this in one of the episodes, it was really cool to me when I realized just how my head was working. When I made a mistake and my first thought was like, oh, cool, something to talk about on the podcast. And that was like just a really positive pathway for my brain. Cool, something to talk about on the podcast. Okay, we know how we do this on the Fault. What was the mistake? Thinking very clearly what exactly happened to cause this. Not I was stupid, but like what was it, and what was behind that. Why did I do something stupid? And then what could I do differently? So when I realized, there came a point when I realized that I was following that process in my brain, and that was a really cool feeling. And I think it's just so much better. And as I've actioned a lot of the things we've talked about, probably not all of them, but a lot of the things that we've talked about, life has gotten better. Results are getting better. I feel better. The company, I think, will be better because of it. I don't have a lot of amazing results to show right now, but there are some reasons for that perhaps we'll be talking about in future seasons. But I can see that the quality level of the company has absolutely improved because of some of the things we've talked about. So that's been really cool. And one of the reasons why, we'll talk in a second about where we want to go from here, but one of the reasons why I thought that this was a really good inflection point just for me personally is because I felt like, great, we kind of achieved, or I at least achieved to some extent, what I wanted to achieve from the podcast. And so it's time to sort of pause and think about, all right, how do we want to do this in the future? So yeah, that's been my thought process or going through the first season, how it has been for me. Really overall a very positive experience. I've really enjoyed it. There have absolutely been ups and downs, and there have been challenges here and there, but it's been very enjoyable for me. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. I'll just say a few. That's really cool, and that is really nice to have something where we get what we wanted out of it, and it's nice to have this little bookend. We're going to talk in a second about where we're going to go, which we haven't really talked about too much, so this will be fun.
All I was thinking was throwing out some ideas of what we're thinking we could potentially do in the future. So we don't really have anything concrete. What we're planning on doing now is just taking a break. So we both have a lot of work to do in our companies.
Yeah.
We have, as you mentioned, a whole fault's worth of things to work on. And because when we come back to this, for me personally, I feel like I'm ready for whatever comes next. So we like this format. We enjoy talking about business. We enjoy spending time together and talking about business. And so we've just brainstormed a little, not too much. So we might continue in some sort of similar format to this. We might add in some other people, start talking to other people, see what faults they have. For example, we might explore other business cases. Like we talked a little bit about if going more deeply into some of the things that we talk about but keeping it actually one-sided in that episode. So for example, if Jay, if you have something you're really thinking about or working on,
Yeah.
looking at that as a little bit of a test lab. So just talking through it in a lot of depth, with me acting much more as an interviewer rather than as a co-host as we do. So those are a
Yeah.
couple ideas that I've had so far. We don't really know when. We don't know what, but we would like to continue at some point. That's basically,
Yeah.
that's it. What do
Uh,
you have to add to that?
I have a lot to add to that. First of all, for me, I would like to get my office done. Once my office is done, I'd like to have a nice little setup. I will have better internet. I will also have better quality. At every point, I'll have better quality, and that would be really cool. Better sound, better visuals, and better connection to be able to hear all those wonderful consonants. And so that's a kind of a benchmark for me, or a milestone, or whatever. That's like a thing in the future that I like to do. In my opinion, I think we should do another season of similar to this, basically the first season plus. So what you were saying, incorporate other aspects, different styles, but just have it be me and you. I really am
Hmm.
excited about including other people in this relationship. I think you could really benefit from opening up a little bit, not being so conservative. So that would be, because this really is a nice format. It'd be great. It's great. Everybody gets on and you hear these people talk about how great they are, their accomplishments or whatever, and you're just like, okay. It's like, but when people are in business and when we're building businesses, we want to hear about the problems and because everywhere we look, there are problems. I have problems at every point in my business and mistakes that I'm making and unknown. And if if I want to talk to someone, I don't want to hear what was your best month. I mean, that's cool just to be like, oh, whatever. But I want to hear, how did you get past this thing or that thing? So anyway, that's I'm really excited about opening up to people that are much farther along in the game than we are, and they can kind of talk about some of their stuff. That yes, but I'd like to hone in. I'd like to get a little tighter. I'd like to have fun with it. Keep it with me and you for one more season, and then try to open it up. And I was thinking about the problem with that too. Not problem with that. One of the things we'll have to overcome is getting interesting people that relate to. Well, the nice thing about not having much of an audience is we don't really have to worry about alienating part of the audience. I was thinking about, like, if there's one of your contacts that is just completely unrelated to a local business here, or if anybody in the Middle East is going to want to hear about my local, the plumber that developed a huge, like, are they, however, mistakes are translatable, and it depends on if the person has the wherewithal and the ability to be able to talk about things that are easily understood by everyone. I'm not getting this right. I could say this much better. That could be beneficial to everyone and understood by anyone. There's a type of word for that anyway. And so that would have to be something we would have to overcome to make sure that it's actually worthwhile, and not being like, oh, we'd have to get the parking lot paved, and you're like, I don't care about the parking lot. So yeah. Anyway, those are all things we'll have to figure out, but I'm excited to do it again, do it a little bit better, tighter, cleaner, with having a little more fun with different varieties. So an expanded version of the whatever. Other than that, I just repeated myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like that idea of season two being what we did here, but some variations on a theme, uh,
Yeah.
and getting it tighter. That's cool. We have
Yeah.
there are a bunch of options that we have in terms of whether it's just one person talking at a time for an episode, experimenting with that. This is something, a creative issue where you and I have butted heads. I wouldn't mind taking it outside the business world and talking about personal mistakes, and that's something that you're not a big fan of. So those are on the episodes where you're on vacation. That's what I'm gonna do.
Just get on here and be like, listen, everyone, I got some problems in my personal life. We got to talk about this.
Exactly. Exactly. That is my plan.
Yeah. Well, you need
But
to
yeah,
get more
so
people in your life to be listening to you, because ain't nobody trying to be listening to all. I'm a bad brother. I want to listen to it, but I don't want to put that on our audience. But yes, yeah, no, you're right. I hear you.
we'll see. Maybe we'll
I'll
become
do my
a
best to resist him for you all. Okay, I'm gonna resist him for you all to make sure that you guys Not Bored with Jared Strong. We're going to have a spin-off show where Jared just talks about his problems.
And I have material for that spin-off show.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. We're not sure if you're the
But
hero or
yes.
the villain of all these things, but it's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
It's week to week. It definitely,
Yeah.
we go on all sides.
Yeah.
But yes,
No.
it would be cool also, as we're talking through these ideas, it would be interesting to hear if each of our 7 viewers, listeners wouldn't mind chiming in. It would be
Yes.
cool to hear from all of you people out there what you have appreciated, why you watched when you watched, why you didn't watch when you didn't watch, and
Definitely.
what would be interesting for you moving forward.
Yes.
So that's pretty much it for me for season 1. Is there anything else you want to say before we close the curtain?
Yeah, I should have said at the beginning kind of what a recap what the podcast is I'm already thinking about fixing one of my mistakes, which is publishing that on my, I don't know, my personal Facebook or something. That's probably where I have the most reach of random people. And just to get the context, it'd be kind of interesting if this was interesting enough to some 1 or 2 people that they went back and watched it. I guess right now I'm actually going to be going on a train. My train leaves in 18 minutes. And so I just looked at the clock and I got that little bit of nervousness right here. I've had hundreds of planes in my subcoccals. I don't know, my sternum, my upper intestines. So I'm feeling it. And also on the other end too, I got like this, like a little ball egg of stress. Anyway, what I wanted to say is, thank you very much. I really wanted to say thank you. I've had some mostly family members and one friend that my only friend, one friend that has said things, but mainly actually family members. So that's been really encouraging. It's fun to hear my cousin, our cousin, reference something from it. It took me a second to get. I was like, how did you know that information? And she's like, because of the podcast. I was like, that's so special to me. I'll never forget that.
You watch the podcast.
Exactly. That's
a good reference from
yes.
Singing in the Rain.
Yes, exactly. So I just want to say thank you to everyone that has listened and said nice things. One thing we'll have to do when we come back is to figure out a way to get conversation happening, having more interaction, because I don't feel like there's we have no connection to our few audience. And even if it's 3 people, literally, which is totally fine with us, having kind of direct access, whether it's on YouTube comments or some sort of thing. We get our own Reddit page. I don't know how people do it. Just for people to just talk trash about each episode is what we want. And just really make us better. And we love criticism, engagement, and interesting stuff, and maybe one positive thing each month max. But yeah, so that would be really cool.
That'll be r/trash vault. Is where you can find us and talk about us.
Exactly.
Cool. All right. On that note, I'll second that. Thank you to everybody who watched. We definitely appreciate it. It was more of a video diary for us, but it was we appreciate everybody who took the time to watch it as well and to give feedback.
Yes, and real quick, thank you to our editors as well for doing a lot of the heavy lifting for us. Very much appreciate them as well.
Absolutely.
Just want to slip that in.
Yeah, we had a great team.
Yep.
Great. All right. See you all in season 2.
Bye, guys. Thank you.